Make sure you stick around until the end to see how you can win free gear and products. Hey everyone, this is PJ with CLK Supplies, and I am here with my dad, Pete, aka the Lockfather nowadays,
yeah,
right?
Right.
And you know, recently I did the part 1 and part 2 about key blank manufacturing history and the part numbers and all that kind of stuff. And so many of you have been asking about how do you organize your keyboards. And so now that we've kind of went over and talked about the different manufacturer key blank part numbers and what they all kind of mean and the different categories of them, I wanted to actually start discussing key blank inventory management and how you're displaying them. Now, of course, sometimes you're going to have all these walls of keys like you do here in this shop, and sometimes you're not going to. But how you're going to organize them is going to be the same either way. And now there is a few different ways that you can organize them, but I really wanted to talk to you about why you've decided to do this way and what numbers are you using as your baseline. Because no matter how you want to organize, you have to pick the baseline of the system you're going to use to organize. So for this shop, what system did you decide to use to organize your keys?
Well, I went through the ILCO book.
Okay.
And I went alphabetical order.
Okay.
From the front to the back.
Okay.
And then I put the easy number beside or below on the side of the tag.
Okay, so you're using the ILCO number, not the easy number, the ILCO number as the main reference point.
Right, as the key tag.
As the key tag and how you have them organized. Okay, now, if you haven't watched, by the way, if you haven't watched part 2 of the key blank history and how the part numbers work, I'll put a link in the notes below. You want to make sure you watch that because what he's talking about will make a lot more sense if you don't understand. So, for example, if I were just to look here, let's see, so I see the NA12, the NA14, and I see that you have the NA12.
So that would be under national.
Yep, well, it's under the 1069 LA.
Right. That's the ILCO number.
That's the ILCO number.
Right.
And that's the main number you have listed on all these.
On all my key tags.
Okay. And so you decided to use that method.
Yes.
And then over here, you have all your foreign keys, which you use the X number, which we know came from Taylor.
Right. Taylor was the original one who started the X series.
Yep.
And then ILCO bought Taylor, so they still continue.
Okay, so it's the same. So it's the same thing here. So you're using the X number as the main number, but then you're putting, like for the X217, you're putting underneath it the easy number, which is the TR47.
Right.
Okay, so that's kind of the system you've used for all of this.
Yes.
And I'm sure it actually really helps you understand the ILCO numbers pretty well after a while because you're always looking at them.
Especially the popular ones.
Especially the popular ones, right? And so that's how you decided to do it. Now, how many years have you used this system?
Since day one.
Since day one.
Once I got a store.
And do you still like it, or do you wish you went another method?
Well, no, I'd still stay with this method. But the problem is ILCO's bought 90% of the key companies, so then they have their numbers and the other companies they bought.
Okay, so I have another question for you here. Okay. So it's like some of the keys on your wall here are definitely JMA. It looks like a lot of the popular ones are JMA.
Right.
Now JMA uses their own number as well.
Right.
So are you writing on the tag? So you're still using the ILCO number as the main reference point.
Right.
And then you have the easy number, which is like the quick blank number on the popular stuff.
Right.
Like a H75.
Absolutely.
But are you also listing on some of the tags the JMA number as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you'll have the ILCO base number up top, and then underneath it you're going to have the easy number from ILCO, and then the JMA number, as well.
Because JMA's come a long way. I mean, they're really popular keys anymore.
Absolutely. Very interesting. So you like it? It works well?
Yep. Absolutely. It's the only way we can keep organized.
Keep organized.
And underneath our counter, our backup stock is the same way.
Yep.
If it has an easy number, we put it in alphabetical order still.
Based off the easy number, not off the ILCO number.
Right, and then we have the ILCO numbers where we put in you know, if it's an NA12, we put the original ILCO number and NA12 or whatever.
Yep. Very interesting, you know, and of course this is the keyboard I grew up using, you know, so I'm
Absolutely.
very kind of familiar with that.
Right.
But yeah, I find it's a very interesting method, and I really hope everyone watching finds it helpful.
Yeah.
Definitely ask any questions in the comments below. And also, we'd love to know, how are you organizing keys, right? This is an opportunity for all of us to continue to learn together. So put the comments in the notes below. Dad, thanks for coming on.
Yep, it's taken years to get this many keys, but the system works well.
Yep.
And it would be interested to hear from everybody how they do theirs.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, thank you. And we'll see you next time.
Have a good day.
I'm guessing if you just watched this video that you work with locks and keys. And to us here at CLK Supplies, that makes you a lock boss. And we want to hook you up. Here's how it works. Throughout the week, we post videos on YouTube, like the one you just watched. And all you need to do is comment on the videos and include the hashtag Lockboss. When you do this, you're automatically entered in to win one of 5 free prizes that we give out each and every week. No purchase necessary. So if you're a lock boss, join us each week to learn, grow, and win.